in the Air Force, I amassed over 2,000 flying hours, flying 8 different aircraft types in operations and exercises all over the world. But that's all very interesting, you might be thinking. You're probably thinking, what on earth has that got to do with you all? Well, what I hope to be able to do now over the next 45 hours is, sorry, that was a brief thing, so 45 minutes. And I'm just going to be sharing with you a few of my stories, of my experiences of operating a fast jet like this on the front line. And I just want to use those as a vehicle to investigate these key areas that are common to every single one of our working practices. I want to talk about goal setting and progress and why that's so important. And then I want to talk about working together and how it is we create that high performance team. Also about managing that constantly changing environment, keeping on top of it, and how you make decisions, especially when there is enormous pressure to deliver. You're possibly wondering now what my call sign was. I mean, there was a lot of very cool call signs, weren't there, when you were watching Top Gun? There was what, Maverick, Goose, Iceman, perhaps she was Ice Maiden. But no, I was a 6-foot-tall woman on the squadron, and there was a Sesame Street character around at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Big Bird. And when you have got a goal, sometimes it's so much easier to progress towards it. I mean, we would never get into a car and just drive around in circles if you didn't have a destination in mind. So why should any of us be any different, A, in our personal lives, but also within our businesses? Out of many, many thousands of applicants, ultimately only one person ends up in a fast jet cockpit. The competition is incredibly fierce. The training you receive in the military is second to none. We spend 9 months being put through our paces, both emotionally, physically. We're pushed intellectually because they want to see, can you make decisions whilst under pressure? Are you the sort of person that can lead when the odds are against you, when you're stressed, when you're fatigued? Because for many people, following on from officer training, they'll find themselves out in a theatre of war, where they'll be making decisions that will affect the lives of those around them. But I don't know about you, when you're stuck in a rut, you're working on a problem, we always tend to take that problem on in exactly the same way we always have done. And the results that we get are always exactly the same. It's only when we actually open up our thinking, get rid of that tunnel vision, and think, how can we learn from something else? How might we do this differently? And by getting together at events like this, by networking, by talking to others in the same industry, it's amazing how many ideas can be shared. So when you think about being part of a team, it's one of these words that we flash out, working together. What does it actually mean? It's about selfless behaviour. It's about going the extra mile for those around us. Because I can guarantee that team is spelled like this for a reason. It is because together, everyone achieves more. I graduated to fly this aircraft, the Tornado GR4. I was posted to 2 Squadron, the oldest fixed-wing squadron in the Air Force, and happened to be the same squadron my grandfather had served on in the Second World War. Within a matter of 3 weeks, I found myself flying on combat missions over Iraq. Now, the night I'm going to describe to you happened on my penultimate night in theatre. I'd been out there for 4 months, was going home the next day. But once we came down to this bottom corner along the Saudi Arabia border, nothing had ever happened. So if I were to ask you what the biggest threats are to us out there, not many of you might say complacency. I'm now in a low-threat environment. I start to think about the fact that I'm going to see my partner. When suddenly and without warning, Ringo just yelled, "Mandy, brake right!" I just slammed my throttle fully forward. I rolled to 120 degrees and I pulled very hard towards the ground. He started pumping out the flares. Now these burn at an incredibly hot intensity. And the reason he called that was because a surface-to-air missile had launched, locking on to the heat source that was our engines. Now this was a manoeuvre I had practiced hundreds and hundreds of times before, but never for real. And the consequence of getting that wrong would have been fatal. Now, as I manoeuvred the aircraft, I chilled the engines. At that exact same moment, the flares left our aircraft, and we watched the missiles go from being locked onto us to pulling off on the flares and exploding. We breathed out a sigh of relief, and a few expletives might have left our mouths at that moment. But every single trip that we fly, we debrief it afterwards. Debriefing. When's a good time to do it? It's often a good time when something bad has happened. By doing that, you're instilling a blame culture, because blame, after all, is a delicious emotion. we always want to blame somebody because it makes us feel better. But actually, by blaming people, we never ever learn. And so the Air Force has developed a just culture, one where we are very, very aware that competent professionals make mistakes, and they even deviate from set procedures, but where there is a line in the sand between acceptable and unacceptable behaviour. And I was speaking at a big conference recently, about 1,000 people there, and at this point, a gentleman at the front, I later discovered 83 years old, stands up and says, "May I have a microphone?" It's never happened before. I said, "Get him a microphone." He stood up and he said, "Mandy, I've worked for the National Trust now for the last 32 years. Okay, lovely, really. And he said, "In all that time, there's been an enormous lawnmower there." Good, I'm thinking. And he said, "I've always been a bit too scared to use that really big lawnmower, but you know, hearing you talk, I've decided to go back and have a go on the big lawnmower." So I ask every single one of you in this room, what is your lawnmower moment? Because we can start at the basic model, that's nothing to dream about. Advance to the medium one, but just to tie in with this morning's themes. What's the Formula One of lawnmowers? Dream big, guys. Not just for your businesses, but for you personally. Because we can have dreams, we can even believe them, but you know what? So often we don't put them into action. You've got to see it through. You have got to dream it, believe it, and then do it. Thank you very much for your time.